Okay, hello, my friends, and welcome to the number 2 edition of the Tesla Talk Show. I am with Roger and Matt Pressman from EVANNEX. Hello, guys. How's it going?
How you doing, Steve? How's everything?
Hey Steve, how are you, man?
Doing great. Doing great. It's good to see you guys. So, for the people that don't know, on my big trip this summer, I was able to go down to Florida, of course, because I went to all 48 states. And I had the pleasure of meeting both of these guys, and they showed me around their entire operation and set me up with some awesome things that they produce there. So I wanted to have them on and chat about everything Tesla, and of course have them catch me up on what's going on down south there in Florida. So give us a little catch up on what's going on.
Oh, well, yeah, lots going on. The biggest thing I think going on for our business right now is the Tesla Model X.
Yes.
So we're working furiously on creating new products for the new Tesla SUV, the Model X. And we've taken measurements for floor mats, for sunshades. We have 2 new wheels we're introducing on the site probably
Really
this week.
cool.
Yeah, along with our wheel bands product, which is a rim protection product that's been very successful for the Tesla Model S.
Yeah, for sure. Now there's two sizes on that one as well, right?
For the wheels. Yeah,
For the X, yes.
yeah, 20s and 22s. So the S is 19s and 21s, and the X is 20s and 22s.
Okay, great. And are yours going to be both of those options as well?
Yes, they'll be factory compatible, so they'll be available. So you'll have the ability to use your same lug nuts, center cap, TPMS as your factory, standard equipment. So it's very much just plug and play,
nice.
and it works very easily, just like the S wheels that we
Awesome.
have.
Yeah. No, that makes a difference. And I know, but I know there was some people that had, I believe, 20-inch wheels for the S. Did you guys do any of that or no?
What's that?
Yeah.
20s for the S? Yeah, we'll have both sizes. We'll have the 20s and the 22s. So both sizes.
Oh, but I was talking about on
That's
the S
great.
though. I know that there was some aftermarkets that were doing 20s. I don't even know if those were at all popular, but I know some people had talked about them.
Well, there are a variety of different wheels you can buy for the Model S, 20s, 22s. But the problem is they're not directly compatible. You're going to have to use some shims or some other technology that'll allow you to fit the wheel on the car without a little bit of grief. The stuff that we carry is directly compatible, so there's no Mickey Mousing around trying to make sure that the wheel fits properly. That's not taking anything away from the other wheels. It's just that it's a little bit more work, and it's a little bit less. You're a little bit less sure that everything's going to go well. You're not going to have rubbing or offsets that don't work or whatever.
Well, I think now is the perfect time for the expression, why reinvent the wheel?
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, no, that's great.
Exactly.
Now, I saw on your website
you
guys have a section where people can sign up for information about the X when the products come out. And can you tell us a little bit about that? Are you trying to get ideas on what people want as well, or give us some insight on that?
Well, people are already sending us ideas. One of the nice things about having an active and concerned customer base, is that they're very willing to tell us what they think every model that Tesla makes needs.
Right.
That continues with the S, but also is very, very common right now with the X. The very few people who have them, there aren't a whole lot of people who have them, have already begun writing us and saying, you know what, I need X, or I need Y, or I need Z. And some of the things are easy and some of the things aren't, but we're looking at everything. Wouldn't you agree? I think that's,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have had a lot of people write in who are either on the X, awaiting X deliveries, or already have the X, and they have a lot of opinions on products and accessories that they want for the X. In fact, we had somebody stop by our office completely unannounced, impromptu, with a signature X, and we were just like blown away because we hadn't seen it yet. So this happened about 2 weeks ago, and we of course combed through the car, every detail, looking for potential products and accessories we can carry. So that was pretty fun, actually.
Absolutely.
Tesla's done some very good things with the X. The interior is really quite impressive. The exterior is, of course, pretty obvious by looking at pictures. It's a spectacular looking car. But like any car, there are a lot of things you can add to it to make it unique or special, or to fit some function that Tesla just chose not to address. And that's really what we're looking at. So we got out our measuring tools and our templates and everything else, and spent some time with the car. We're going to spend a lot more time with the car over the next couple of months. But when the guy came in, all of a sudden the Model X drives up to our front door, essentially.
The falcon doors came up.
I'm guessing all work came to a complete halt.
Yeah, a grinding halt.
Well, not only in our shop, but we're in an industrial park, and the people next door came out, and everybody came out because they wanted to look at it, which is completely understandable. So,
have you seen one
I have.
yet, Steve,
I got to go on another little road trip a few weeks ago in January. I went up to the Periscope Summit in San Francisco, which was a live streaming summit, and I was at the the Mountain View Supercharger, and someone there, of course, had a Model X, and they let me sit in it and take some photos and everything, and wow, it was spectacular. I mean,
it's pretty cool.
It had the white leather interior, and it was like a dark blue exterior. And it was stunning. I mean, and the one thing, I didn't get to sit in the front seat though, so I didn't get to experience the big windshield. So that would have been
the windshield. It kind of, I've had an opportunity in my life, and another part of my life, to sit inside of a fighter aircraft, and it gives you the same kind of a feeling. The entire world is kind of open above you, and it's cool in a lot of ways. And solve some kind of crazy problems you run into when you're driving a car. For example, sometimes you pull in under a light and you can't see the light because you're too. You have to look under the windshield like this. You don't have to do that with a Model X. Just look up, and but it's pretty spectacular. Yeah, it's true. So it's well appointed. Very, very cool interior.
What do you think about the back of the seats? Is almost like a very shiny,
gloss black.
I'm just wondering how it looks fantastic when you buy it, but I'm just wondering how that's going to hold up in terms of getting kicks and mars and scratches. And what do you guys think? Do you think?
Well, I think people with a 3-year-old with a popsicle and sticky fingers are going to probably have to use. It looks really nice. I think it probably will show a little bit of smudge now and then. It's gloss black. You can't expect anything else.
Right. Yeah, I wonder if there's an accessory option for that. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah,
we've got a few things in mind.
Yeah, we can't talk about it, but there's definitely some storage and functionality that we can give to the middle row and the rear row. Similar to what we're working on, believe it or not, even with the Model S right now, we have 2 products in the pipeline that will help with storage and functionality.
Very cool. And when are those coming out? Or can you say?
Well, I'll hand that to the engineer. I'd like it to be out tomorrow.
Yeah, truly nothing ever happens as fast as I would want, and certainly from the marketing point of view, nothing ever happens as fast as Matt would want. But I think probably one of them will be second quarter. Okay, so we're coming up on it. And that's going to be, I think, a very important product for us. And then the other product, which might even be as equally important, probably won't happen until the second half of the year. We still have a few problems to solve and issues to address. Initially, those products are both directed at the Model S, because we've had a lot more time with the car. We understand the car a lot more completely. But both products potentially have an extension into the Model X. It will, however, it will not come out S and X. It will come out S first, selling into that market,
right,
and then X later.
Okay, cool.
Then we have a bunch of other stuff in mind too, but those are two that'll be coming out fairly soon.
Yeah,
we can't give you a date.
Of course not. I mean,
truthfully, I wish we could.
Well,
but you know.
And of course, anyone who owns a Tesla is very accustomed to waiting and waiting.
Yeah.
So, it's par for the course.
Yeah. Well, we try not to announce dates so that at least we don't miss them.
Very smart. Very smart.
But yeah, it's worked okay. But actually, our timelines are pretty good, and we have a pretty solid idea. Like I said, second quarter for one of the products, which I think will be big, and then second half for the other product. That's about the best I can do at this point.
Now, I have a question in terms of, do you guys ever consider getting into like the camera market, or is that just like there's too much competition in that? And
yeah, we do. We have a lot of products that we wind up carrying on the site come from recommendations or suggestions from our clientele, Tesla Model S owners all over the world. And we kept getting recommendations for the black view cameras. And I think you had it in your car or no? Or you were using GoPro, I think, right?
Yeah, I had the GoPros.
But black
I did have a dash cam that was...
Yeah.
You know what? To be honest, I don't even remember what the name was, but yeah, go ahead.
But Blackview is a brand that kept coming up time and time again, both in the forums, email correspondence, phone calls, even people we met in person who kept saying this dash cam is really something else. So
highly rated, highly recommended.
Yeah. And it's fairly easy to install. We do recommend that a professional installer does do the install for the product. But we started carrying that about a month or two ago, and it's been very successful. So it really is what we have on our website is a very clearly both a video and written instructions that help to show you how to make it happen in your Tesla Model S. So dash cam definitely is important, and it's kind of like insurance, video insurance for your car. So so
front and rear.
Front and rear cameras.
Full recording, turnover recording.
HD.
So when you're
HD,
if you're not driving and it's parked, does it do motion sensing so it'll record when there's motion, or no?
I believe when the car is off,
you can set it.
The camera is off unless you set it to record. You kind of stumped me. I'm not 100% sure whether there is any motion sensing capability if the car is turned off.
Right.
But I don't want to swear to it because there are a lot of features in this system, and it's conceivable that there's a setting that allows you through the app to allow the camera to record even when you're outside the car, essentially when the car is off.
I believe there is the killer question everybody's trying to figure out is, can you get the dash cam in the front, the videos in front, somehow wired into your touch screen so you can see not just the rear facing, visuals, from the Model S, but can you get the front as well? Can you flip it? And we don't know if anybody's done it yet, and it would be a hack of some kind, so I don't think we'd recommend it, but we get that question a lot. Yeah.
Tesla discourages hacks like that. We would also discourage them just because you're messing around with the internal system of the car. But that doesn't mean that somebody's not going to try to do it. And if they succeed, we'll find out about it for sure.
Of course, of course. Yeah, I mean, then you potentially get into things where you may void a warranty or who knows what. So, yeah, you definitely want to be careful with those type of things.
Sure.
I agree. Actually, there's someone who we think is close to doing it, who we know very well. We sell the lighted T, which is a backlit, sort of T that you can put on the rear of your car and the front of your car. He's known on the forums as Art Sai. He's a guy I think you should definitely interview. He calls himself the Mad Modder. So he modifies his car in every conceivable way. And he's very handy with figuring out these things. And he's sort of close to being able to figure it out, but he hasn't yet. So
very cool. Very cool. Oops, sorry. Yeah. What else? What else is going on in the general world of Tesla?
Well, I follow the Tesla news, so religiously because I'm a big investor in Tesla, the stock. TSLA is the ticker for it. And I got into the stock around 37, and I've accumulated more and more shares all the way up, which I've been very fortunate. And, knock on wood, it keeps kind of having this upward trajectory. But because of that, I follow the news religiously, every single detail. And right now, the big news is all about the Tesla Model 3, which is their $35,000, 200-mile all-electric car, obviously, that they're working on. So there's limited information about it, with the exception of the fact that we know it's going to be using more steel than aluminum in the Model S and Model X. So that's different. It should be about 20% smaller than the S, about the size of an Audi A4. Right. That was recently in the news. There's differing reports on what it'll look like, a lot of different concept design renderings that I've featured on our blog. But it's all, nobody knows. It's all hypothetical, and they're keeping it very close to the vest, what it will look like. The only other thing that's been floating around is that they probably will do two versions of the car. One will be a sedan, and likely another will be a smaller, I guess they call it CUV, which is sort of like a smaller SUV. And that it's also rumored that will have Falcon wing doors, the sort of smaller SUV version of the Model 3.
Yeah, I suspect that's a rumor that won't come to fruition.
Yeah.
After looking at the Falcon wing doors from an engineering perspective, they truly are spectacular. But I have to believe they're also pretty expensive to build.
Yeah.
And if they want to maintain their price point, I suspect they're going to have to go with more conventional doors. It would be very surprising to me if they went with Falcon wings for a car, let's say in the $35,000 to $45,000 price point. It's just hard to believe, but you never know.
My guess on that, if they actually do that, is they would come out with the standard one first, and then maybe 3 years down the road, they come out with one like that. And I would think too, they would want to get some of the data from the X to see how the doors are holding up long term before they throw that on the more inexpensive car where it's going to cost them a ton in repairs down the road. That's my thought.
Yeah, lots of questions. You have, is it going to be free supercharger use for base level Model 3? Will base level Model 3 have autopilot functionality? These are big questions. And so, and how fast will it be? What will the performance be? Will it be able to beat, sort of the equivalent in the BMW 3 Series world, the Audi A4? And everybody pretty much thinks that the performance will blow those cars away, just like the Model S kind of blows away its immediate competitive set. But again, these are all things we have to wait until March 31st, which is when Elon Musk will do a big reveal. And no one knows what the extent to what the reveal will be. Also, he's been very cagey about saying I'm not sure how much I'm going to show that on that date. He said that on his earnings conference call. So there's just a lot of banter in the media world.
Yes, yes. So since we're talking about that, what do you think? Do you think it's going to have supercharging? Do you think it's going to, have the P version, which is going to be super fast? I mean, what do you think?
My personal thoughts. My thoughts are it will have free supercharging. I think that's a really great feature that
it distinguishes it from the GM offering, for example, from the Bolt.
Yeah,
because the Bolt, as of right now, has no infrastructure whatsoever, except for existing charging stations, which are very slow.
Yeah.
So that's a differentiating characteristic. If you want, I think that's pretty much a slam dunk. I would be very surpurprised if they went any other way.
But do you think it's going to be like on the very, very base, the $35,000 one with, at no additional cost? Because I remember back in the day when the 60, you could pay an extra $2,000 or something and have it enabled. Do you think it's going to follow that same type of thing? Or do you think it's just going to be free all the way?
I don't know. I just don't know.
Well, I mean, if you look at the of course, Tesla tends to disrupt models, but if you look at the model for the Audi or the BMW smaller cars, the A3, A4, BMW 3 Series, the prices of those guys rarely come in at base when you buy the car, unless you really want a base vehicle. Yeah. And you add functionality, you add features, you add bling if you'd like, to take the price up to whatever level you want to take it up to. I mean, a BMW 3 Series can start at 29 and run all the way up to $65,000 or $70,000. I don't know necessarily that the Model 3 is going to have that big a price range, but it wouldn't in the least surprise me if it came in under the number that people are talking about as a base price. But in order to get things like charging, like
sensor suite,
autopilot, high performance, or even moderately high performance, you're going to have to pony up a few extra dollars, and the price will no longer be, at the base level. That's completely understandable. I think that the automotive public understands that, and I'd be quite surprised if they didn't go in that direction.
What about, and I don't know if they've mentioned this or if it's still speculation, but is it going to be 2 or 4-wheel drive?
That's another question. Will it be a dual motor, with 4-wheel drive, or will it be like the old, sort of during the Signature series of the Model S, and obviously in the early days everything was rear-wheel drive. So again, what I've been reading, the hypotheticals that sort of people are projecting are that it will probably be rear-wheel drive, and there will be a dual motor D model, and there will be a P, as you noted before, a performance model as well. So,
yeah, I would kind of agree with that assessment. I'd be very surprised if out of the blocks they had a dual motor version. I think they have a lot of opportunity with this car over a period of a number of years. So they'll begin with a fairly basic car, I think. You will be able to goose it up if you'd like, but fundamentally things like dual motor, like greater range, higher capacity batteries, very, very sophisticated autopilot capabilities may not come out in year 1 or even year 2.
Yeah.
I think the real thing that we may never know is what kind of interest the company gets out of the blocks on March 31st and April 1st when people begin signing up. I mean, are the numbers going to be in the tens of thousands? They will be at least that. Or are they going to approach maybe 100,000 people over a period of a week or two? I could actually see that happening. Our experience with our market is that the Tesla vehicles are aspirational. I can't tell you how many young kids, and I'm an old guy, so young kids for me means anybody, in the 30 to 45 year range, say, man, I would love to get that car. I just can't afford it. And the minute they hear the Model 3 is coming out it's like the light goes off in their eyes and they say, this is the best. So I think there's going to be a pretty good sign up. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's
you know, I would definitely not be surprised if there was over 100,000 within the first week.
Over 100,000
wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, nor would I actually, particularly because you don't have to pony up a whole lot of money. I mean, yeah, $1,000 is a lot of money, but it's not like a lot of money. And I think a lot of people are willing to put that kind of money into play to be among the first people who will get the car. Yeah.
And one other thing that is known is that on March 31st, you can order the car only if you go to a Tesla store. So that is an interesting sort of, I guess, publicity stunt almost. Think about the first iPhone when that came out, and the line, around the block. I think that may be the case again, where the media, comes out and films these long lines for the new Tesla Model 3. And then the following day, anybody can order it online. But to get your first sort of dibs, you have to go to the store, which I think is a great idea.
It's brilliant. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, it creates that whole thing. But Tesla is genius at marketing and PR. I mean, they're in the news every other day, if not every day, in the regular news, not just the stuff we follow. I mean, everything, USA Today, all the major newspapers and TVs. I mean, if something happens with Tesla, it's news. Well,
for the automotive industry, it's a disruptor, and because it's a disruptor, it plays to the more general media, not only the automotive media. And that is their unique ability, and it helps the company an awful lot because of that.
Now I wonder how many Model X's they're going to have in the showrooms that day when all the people are rolling in. Now, of course, it's a different market, but once again, you have that aspirational, like, ooh, wow. Or maybe they don't even want to have them in there. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, one of my favorite writers that I follow is Daniel Sparks. He's a writer for The Motley Fool. And he is a Tesla Model S owner, and he also writes about finance and stocks. And he did a great article about the fact that he thinks the X is going to hit stores before the Model 3, which will serve as a magnet to draw people into the stores and be this sort of dramatic showcase, this new introduction of the X inside the stores, which will really draw up interest in Model 3s right before the 31st. But I don't see, at least from what I've seen, I mean, there are very few X's, I think, in any stores, if any, across the country.
In the wild.
Yeah, I mean, even in the wild. So
you just don't see
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen one in Arizona. I know there's a few around, but I've yet to see one, on the road.
Yeah, we're aware of 2 or 3 in our area, but you certainly don't see them pulling up to a stoplight. At least I never have. Now in our area, you see a fairly large number of Model S's, around.
Oh, Model S's are like Priuses now. I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah, it's true.
No,
we like that.
That's a good thing. That's a very good thing as far as we're concerned.
So now here's the other, but this is the question everyone wants to know about the Model 3 is it going to have a console?
We anticipate it will. Although, they may look like the Model S to save weight and also to create more space in the car because there's the flat battery pack, that kind of skateboard design. Tesla's design approach and their aesthetic has always been to create as much space as possible in the interior. So it's conceivable that they won't have the console in, but they do have it standard in the X. So, we'll see. We're guessing they will,
Well, my assessment's a little bit different. I think Matt hit on key points. I think, number one, price point is key, and every accessory you add adds to delivered cost. Yeah. Number two, I think weight is key. They really, really, really want to be sure they maintain a significant range, And although I'll admit a center console isn't very heavy, every pound counts. So I think it may very well be that Tesla will do pretty much the same thing they've done with the Model S, and that is they'll offer a center console at some point downstream as an accessory, which you can buy after the fact. I frankly would be surprised if the Model 3 has a center console on delivery, although it could certainly happen. We will certainly be offering a center console for the Model 3. There's no question about it if it doesn't have one already.
Well, and even if they come out with their own, obviously yours has its own unique design, its own unique things that make it great. So, you know, and some people will buy yours, some people will buy it from Tesla, but there'll still be a huge market for your product. And while we're talking about it, I got to say, guys, I'm loving mine still. It's awesome. And I don't tell anyone this, but I put in my razor just because, you know, I got to save time. I don't have time to shave at home. So I stick my...
Well, it's funny because...
What? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, everybody has their...
yeah, you can't imagine some of the things
we
people
hear
have
crazy
told us.
stuff.
Yeah, we won't go into it.
It's like, what do you put in your console?
Yeah, right.
What do you put in your... so many different secret...
I thought
uses.
I would out myself, you know? So... what else? What else is happening?
Yeah. So yeah, other from that, so the big news obviously is the X, you know, then the Model 3. You know, supercharger build out looks really good. You know, another big market that's really kind of grown for us is in Asia specifically has been Hong Kong. We've been getting a lot of orders from Hong Kong. Recently, Tesla did a visit there. Elon Musk spoke in Hong Kong. And it's one of his biggest markets outside of Norway, which, by the way, is also one of our biggest markets.
Internationally,
that is, yeah. Our biggest market is California, then Florida, and then, you know, we obviously internationally.
Texas, Colorado,
you know. But then internationally, Canada is very big for us, and Norway is huge for us. But Hong Kong, we've seen a really big spike and increase in, you know, our own orders. So we have a unique perspective on how Tesla's doing, because in many instances, we'll see a very big spike in our own order flow. For instance, at the year end in December, we saw our biggest, biggest tsunami of orders. Like we'd never seen anything like that. And so having, you know, owning the stock, definitely took a look and said, okay, maybe there's a correlation here. Maybe they're really going to be able to deliver this big number that they're looking at, you know, over 50,000 cars for the year. And turned out to be right. They were able to deliver over 50,000 cars. And also we get to see some interesting trends. So if we see like a lot of deliveries or a lot of orders from Hong Kong in a certain few weeks, you know, we could probably extrapolate that they're delivering a lot of cars to Hong Kong. So it's interesting. We just see sort of unusual things in our business that may give us clues about what's happening with Tesla, because they're so quiet about it, you know. So
because we're involved in the market, we get insight into what you might characterize as micro analytics. In other words, you know, we'll even get a feeling, for example, of whether they're doing production runs with a given interior color.
Yes.
Because we see orders in a given interior color that might be out of the statistical norm. In other words, all of a sudden we'll get a lot of orders for, let's pick a color, gray. And gray is not, frankly, a big seller. But all of a sudden, if we're getting a lot of orders for gray, well, it could be a statistical anomaly, or it could be that Tesla decided to make a production run of gray interior vehicles. They're hitting the market, and now people are ordering things from us. So we get a lot of those kinds of micro analytics, which are kind of interesting. It's actually kind of good for investing. And it's also just a very interesting insight into what the company's doing.
And Steve, that leads me to something I've been trying to round up the information, but I've been dying to do a blog post on what interiors Tesla owners, you know, have the biggest sort of love for, you know, or order the most, because we do have a very specific look at, are they ordering, black, tan, or gray upholstery, and are they ordering the Obici woods? Are they ordering the carbon fiber, the piano black gloss finish? What are those statistics like? And we know that down to granular detail. So at some point, I'm going to publish a blog post saying, here's what we see in terms of what Tesla owners most like to order with their interior configuration.
Right. That'd be interesting. I'd love to hear that. So do you think?
Yeah, I think we have a large enough population of orders now so that we can do that. Yeah. I mean, obviously, Tesla would be the source of all information on that, but they tend not to share. So we'll take a look at it and maybe share a little bit of that at some point.
Like for me in Arizona, right? I specifically want a lighter colored interior. I don't want a black interior. It's too hot. Is that something you guys see in warmer weather areas where it's a lighter interior versus darker, or does that just mean nothing?
I don't think there's a very significant correlation. I think colors, first of all, the number of interior colors is, as you know, very limited. So, it just seems to be that there are popular and unpopular interior colors. I don't think they correlate particularly well with any particular climate type. I mean, I live in a very warm climate too. I have a black interior, and I anguished over whether or not that was a good idea. I don't regret it for a minute. The heat filtering in Tesla's glass is so good that you really don't fry. I've never burned myself on the seats or in any other way created a problem. That's not to say that some people might not like it. And, tan is, for example, in our area is a very popular interior color. But so is black.
Yeah, for us, the number one interior color is black.
Is black, clearly, going away.
And this is unusual, to your point, Steve, because the number one market for Tesla is California. So 50% of all of our orders and what we've read, all of Tesla's orders come from California in the States. So, obviously a lot of warm weather, areas in California, yet black is far and away the biggest interior. We'll do the statistics on a blog post at some point, but black is definitely number one. And then,
that's very cool. Now, what about, you said, Hong Kong is a new big market for you. Do they have the same ordering patterns as the United States, or do you see a completely, like they're interested in some more obscure accessory than here, or what I mean? Is there one thing that's really popular that's not so popular here, or vice versa?
Well, I would say there's no unusual ordering of accessories I'm seeing in Hong Kong versus the States. Our number one product worldwide is the center console insert that we make. A very popular product is the lighted T, that both a front and rear lighted T. And in Hong Kong, for whatever reason, that is extremely popular. I mean, we've seen a huge number of orders for the lighted T in Hong Kong. So that would be something that I would say is a call out for Hong Kong specifically.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And then yeah. And then obviously, you see things like in very warm weather places, sunshades will be big, in very cold weather places, all-weather mats,
seat covers,
rubber type mats or seat covers tend to be more popular. Snow chains we sell, for
snow chains
in New England or like that, or Norway, they sell very well. So we do see some geographic sort of trends, in our own accessories world. So,
what do you guys think of the new Slipstream wheels?
I like them. From what I've gathered with the Slipstream wheels, I had a conversation with a customer about this just on Friday. Apparently, I haven't seen them in person, but apparently, Steve, the Slipstream wheel design is identical to the design of the X. Okay. So they use that same, I guess it's the turbine look on the 21s that they sort of changed a little bit for the X. That's the Slipstream design that they use now on the S19s as standard equipment. So they sort of, which makes sense, just to streamline manufacturing. They're using that same design on the S19s and the X20s and 22s as standard equipment. So that's what I've heard, and I like it. I mean, I like what I've seen in the X.
Yeah, well, I think it more closely approximates the look of a Model S, for example. Whereas the 5-spoke wheels were at the risk of insulting folks, a little bit humdrum. I mean, you know, how many million different 5-spoke wheels have we seen over the years? The turbines are a little bit interesting, so I think they're going to do real well. I think people will accept them very nicely.
Now, that said, the 5-spoke wheels, I've seen some cool things that people have done with them. Like I've seen them powder coated in a dark gray or a black. You know, there's, you know, some people put all kinds of accents on it. Gold. I've seen some amazing sort of modifications that Tesla owners have done with their wheels that are really fun. Obviously, our wheel bands product gives that sort of pinstripe that you can create on any wheel, and that gives it sort of a sporty performance look as well. But yeah, I mean, people do amazing things to their Tesla Model S cars. You know, we've seen everything. So you know, you can make anything look really, really cool. I think if you just have an individual sort of different and unique aesthetic.
And how many different colors do those the wheel guards come in?
What's that?
How many different colors do the wheel guards come in?
So the wheel bands come in. So to explain the wheel bands, it's sort of a 5 mph bumper for your rims. And as we all know, as Tesla owners, curb rash is a major problem, right? So you sort of, you know, you parallel parking or pulling into an ATM, you'll sort of scrape your wheels, and that costs hundreds of dollars to get, you know, repaired and fixed. So wheel bands acts as sort of this 5 mph bumper for your rims. There's a track that's one color, then you pop in an insert that's a different color.
Or the same.
And you can use the same color. So for instance, some people use a black track and a black insert so that camouflages into the tire. Other folks use a silver track and a silver insert so it kind of camouflages into the rim, you know, if they have a silver color rim. Some people use, let's say, which is one of our most common combinations, is a black track with a red insert that gives you this very sporty pinstripe look that is it can look really good on a lot of cars.
Yeah. I have it, and if you have red calipers, which I do, and you have pinstripe, it really looks nice. A lot of people stop you and say, "Man, those are really, you know, did you get new wheels?" They'll say, and the answer is no, you know, but it gives it an entirely different look for really very little money. It's a very nice look. Plus, it protects your wheels. Which
exactly. Is a funny story. So one of the interviews,
and there are a number of other. Actually.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. No. So the three main colors really are silver, black, red, and white.
Right.
And white is very rarely ordered. I mean, because obviously you're going to kick up a lot of dirt and the like off the street. But some people order it. You know, if you have a white car and they kind of want to match that look, so we carry white as well.
Yeah, no, those could definitely come in handy. Funny story. So one of the interviews I did this summer was in New York. I interviewed this lady who was an author in Manhattan, and I actually let her drive in Manhattan, which is crazy. I don't know if you guys have ever driven any car through there, but it's like,
I live there.
Okay.
Yeah,
maybe if you live there, it's one thing, but if you've never driven through there, it is nerve-wracking, just because of, you know, you've got cars and taxis and bikes and people coming from every direction, and so the whole thing went great until the very, very end. She pulls up into her like a condo building or whatever and scrapes the tire on the curb. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. And that's a big problem, is most people will contact us after they have the curb rash.
Invariably, that's what happens.
Hey, will it work over curb rash? And the answer is yes. You have to do some sort of a little bit of maintenance beforehand, but you can get
it's doable.
Yeah,
it's doable because I'm ashamed to admit it happened to me. and
right.
Come on, and I scraped my wheel, but you can still get the nice thing, frankly, about wheel bands is that if you have only moderate or minor curb rash, it covers it, so you don't see it, which is nice as well. As long as you prep the area, you can't just throw it on. You have to prep the area, make sure it's smooth. Use a little bit of sandpaper to kind of clean it up, and it works out fine.
Very cool. Well, I think unless you guys have any other hot last-minute topics, I think we're about ready to wrap this thing up for episode number 2 here.
Great. Very good. Absolutely. You know, one question I want to ask you is how many miles did you log when you got to us? Because we saw you, I think, towards maybe the middle or the end of your epic road trip.
Yeah, you guys were somewhere in the middle. I was at the end of the trip. It was 27,000 miles and 27,615 miles to be exact. So, because I did a lot of zigzagging around. I went to, I hit 200 superchargers, which was pretty amazing.
It's got to be some kind of a record,
if you go on the TMC forums, there's a list of like most superchargers or whatever, and I think I'm at 208 or something, and I think the next person's like 165 or something like that. So, it's interesting too because when I started the trip, I think there was only 170 or 180 superchargers, and now there's about 255. So the same trip, this summer would have been a heck of a lot easier than last summer because there's a lot of gaps that are filled in. There's a lot more connecting spots, and it was funny too how many times it happened last summer where I would be somewhere and I literally, like the next day, a supercharger opened up in an area that I really wish they had one. But so they know where to put them in, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Let me ask you one other question before we wrap up, because we get this question a lot from our customers about road trips. And no one knows road tripping better than you, obviously, in a Model S. Did you get a chance to use a lot of the destination chargers at hotels?
Or
no? Did you get a chance to use a lot of the destination chargers at hotels? The Tesla destination chargers?
There was one in Fargo, in North Dakota, where there was like nothing.
Okay.
And in fact, that's why I stayed there.
Okay.
So that was one.
Okay.
That might have been the only one in terms of a destination charger. Wow. Yeah, it was pretty much all superchargers. I think I actually did spend, I believe, $8 in change on regular EV chargers for the whole trip. So, yeah.
That's incredible.
That's amazing.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's cool.
And how many miles total again?
27,000 and change.
Jeez.
You know what's interesting too? There was a gentleman who later that year was also doing a road trip, but he was doing it in a Leaf. Wow.
Oh, wow. That's hard.
Obviously he had, the fast charger, which I think it charges at like maybe 150 miles per hour or something. Yeah. Which isn't bad, but still, you have to stop so often because it just has so little range. And the interesting thing was, though, is he ended up doing, I think, 26,000 or 27,000 miles. But I ended up like literally just like a few hundred miles more than him. And I think because it basically was the longest EV road trip ever. But it was funny that the guy right behind me was in a Leaf. So, that's
wow. Yeah, that is interesting.
Wow. I couldn't have done that. But yeah, I mean, it was an amazing experience. I mean, to get to meet,
Very cool.
so many people from all different walks of life, and so many just really great, generous people. It was just super. It was an amazing trip, and it was one of those trips that like reconfirms your faith in humanity. So yeah, I will not be doing it again this year. For those that are wondering. Unless some sponsor comes out of the woodworks that wants to pay for all my hotels, because I got to tell you, at the end of the trip, I mean, I was burned out. I was worn out because I was literally, I mean, it was all coming out of my pocket. I'm not individually wealthy by any means, and 132 days on the road. I was trying to, save as much money as possible. I wasn't staying in 4-star hotels. It was a lot of Motel 6s. I stayed with a lot of friends and stuff too. But at the end, I was like, man, I just want to sleep in my own bed. And of course, I did sleep in the Tesla about 20 times. And that worked out well. But I got to tell you, the hard part about that isn't the comfort, because the comfort was fine, especially with the fact that you can have the AC or the heat on all night. I mean, there's no other car you can do that, right?
Right.
The problem was sleeping comfortably in terms of, not worrying about somebody knocking on your window and not knowing what they may or may not want. Because it literally is, a little dangerous. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, all the places I did it, I felt like they were safe areas and whatever, but still, I kind of slept with one eye open, if you will. And so it didn't lend to, a great night's sleep. And obviously I would only do it one night in a row because you have no shower either. That's the one thing that, Tesla accessory, a shower thing.
Shower for the Model S. Put a shower in the Model S, exactly.
Right.
We'll have to look at that one for sure.
Yeah. Any other questions about the road trip? I mean, I can talk for longer, but I can talk about it all night.
No, well, I would love to invite you to do a blog post. If you ever have time. We have so many readers that are looking for information on making their road trips easier. And so we've had some guest blog posts from people who've done Tesla X Canada. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They traveled down, I think it was Quebec down to Fort Lauderdale. So they ended right near us. They wrote a guest blog post, but I mean, you're the king of road trips, so it'd be awesome if you ever wanted to do like a top 10 tips for road trips.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Like
tips for road trips.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's make that happen. So
sure. Open invitation.
All right, we'll do it. We do have Stone who joined. Stone, if you have any questions, get them in quick. We're about to end this for the night. But thank you for joining. We do appreciate it. But with that, guys, I think we'll say goodnight, and I really appreciate you guys joining me once again. It's always a pleasure, and we'll do it again sometime in the future, maybe after the three's out there.
Absolutely, great reconnecting, man.
Always good to see you, Steve.
Okay, Steve.
Take care.
Sorry you broke up, but I think it was something.
No, we just said great reconnecting.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great night. All right, bye-bye.
Take care.
Take care.